Okay, folks, I'm ready to do the seppas, which are the spacers between the habaki and the guard, and then between the guard and the handle. Okay, so there's two of those spacers. Those will be done out of copper. I'll tell you, folks, I really love and I really hate working with copper. I love it because it's easy to grind, it's easy to drill, but it just gets so hot. You can't even touch it with a grinder for more than a couple of seconds, and all of a sudden it's really, really hot and you can't hold it. Hey folks, I'm just going to take a moment and plug these files. I don't get any kickback or anything like this. I purchased these, but such a huge difference between top quality files and like the cheapo files. I think this set, this little needle set, was about $100. But oh my God, is it ever, what a difference compared to the cheap $20 whatever set of files I had before. So anyway, get yourself some good files. So there it is, all filed out. I'm gonna cut this off so that I can trace the inside of this on the next piece. I went and put a scratch in this, so I'll put it over here. Don't laugh at my fancy radius jig here. It's really the only one I could find that was the right size. So I got the seppa done, the top seppa. I realized the bottom seppa needs to be the exact shape of the guard, of the handle. So I'm gonna wait to actually grind that one out. At first I was just gonna trace over top of this one, but I want this one to be kind of like an oval with points, just because I think it'll look cool. Now I'm gonna work on the guard. So I'm just kind of playing around with a design for the guard. I decided I was going to use mild steel for the guard, the kashira, which is the pommel, the cap on the end of the handle, and also the manuki, which are the ornaments. This was the very last time I got to use my old grinder. After this point in the video, it's all Broadbeck. This is where I really wish I had a rotary table for my mill. This took a really long time to drill each one of these points to get this hollow area in the guard and then file them out. I ended up using a rotary burr for this, but it really took a long time. I was actually really happy with this carbide burr set that I got. I think it was 25 bucks online and it worked really well. There's a link down in the description if you're interested in getting some of these. And now about an hour or so filing so that I could get the tang into this thing and I could remove all of those marks from the burr. This is my old surface grinder, but instead of putting it on 45, now I've made it completely vertical, but now it's horizontal because the grinder can go horizontal, so it's much easier to use this way. All right, so I've got my seppa done. I decided to take the tips off it. I figured the oval one would be better. I've got that traced out, so I know the two seppa sizes. Next thing is this kind of ferrule that goes at the top of the handle, known as a fuji. And this I'm going to make also out of copper. So this is like a cap on the handle, on the wood handle that will then slide up and rest on top of the SEPA. So the way I'm going to make this is I've already made a smaller version of this, okay, which has a border, so there's going to be an edge around it. Then I'm going to take a strip of copper and wrap it around this so that it's like a cylinder almost, and then silver solder the whole thing, sand it down so it's smooth, and then I'll have a cap. And then this will be the size of my handle, it'll be slightly larger, it'll be this thickness over top. So let's make that. Oh! Well, that was a lot more complicated than I thought it would be. But here's the Fuji, the ferrule, all kind of put together. Seems not too bad. It took a lot of finicky work, so I didn't really do it on camera. Next step is to heat this up, and then we're going to silver solder it. Yeah, folks, I suck at silver soldering. So here it is, folks, all finished. Just kidding. Here's the one that you just saw me try to silver solder. If you noticed on the video, I wasn't paying attention, and I burned this spot with the torch. And when I was grinding the top, this seam opened up, and then this popped open, and I just got tired of it. And then, so this took me 2 hours to fit up correctly. Then I decided I would just take a piece of steel, bend a piece around, it's even thicker, and I got this together in about 20 minutes. And then I MIG'd it around the edges, and then there's basically no seam whatsoever. So that's what I'm going with. So now that that's done, I'm moving on to doing the manuki. The manuki are the ornaments that go on either side of the handle underneath the wrap. For these, I decided just to use my shark logo, cut them out of steel, cut them out on the bandsaw, and then use the grinder just to do the fine points. Next is the handle. So I did a bit of research, and the type of wood used for these is some Japanese name, which in the US is typically basswood. So I ordered basswood. I got my tang drawn out here now. I'm going to slice it down the center and then chisel out the tang in the inside so that it fits nicely, and then glue it back together. Let's do that. Chiseling out the tang for the handle was actually pretty relaxing. You just had to go slow, make sure you didn't make any giant gouges, but even if you did, as long as you didn't take them out the side, you're fine. I'm getting ready to glue the handle halves back together. Before I do that, I want to make sure that they're nice and flat and they're going to meet nicely, and the glue's going to, I'm not going to have any seams or anything like that. So that's what I'm doing, is sanding these down. And then I'm going to get some epoxy and epoxy these together, clamp them down. I wanted to make sure I didn't have any epoxy squeeze out on the inside of the handle, because then it would have been hard to clean it out to get the tang in there. Here we are next day. I've removed the clamps and it fits perfectly. It's not loose, there's no jiggle. I could not have asked for a better fit. It's a little bit snug, which is great. You just have to rock it a little bit and it will come out. So, perfect. You'll notice I haven't drilled the hole yet for the peg to go into to attach the handle. Now, the problem is I wanted to make sure I got the fuchi fitted correctly, because the fuchi is going to adjust the spacing for where the hole needs to be. So I wanted to make sure I got the fuchi fitted now. Then I wanted to leave a flat area so that it was easy to drill through and it wasn't rolling around on the drill press. So that's why I'm just doing this one area to fit the fuchi. So here goes, moment of truth. I have it marked off. Hopefully this pin is going to line up. Whew, look at that. Very nice. All right, now I just got to take this down to just under this. Get a load of that new grinder, folks. Isn't she pretty? Oops, forgot to turn on the dust collection. So there it is, folks, all ready for the final finish on the handle. So I've got these Manuki done. I think they come out really nice. A testament to the new grinder, because there's no way I could have done all of this just on my old grinder. It just didn't have that kind of fine detail. But I was able to do those on mine. They still need some final sanding, but they look pretty good. Nice solid fit on this. No, not loose at all. So Fuchi came out really nice. Okay, fits nicely on there. I'm going to explain the angle in a second. Finished this off camera. I still need to put the slots in it and sand it out a bit, but I'm pretty happy with it. So, the one thing I'm not happy with, you will notice that there's an angle here. And my habaki was getting just the way it was fit up. It was getting smaller and I didn't like it. I knew I wanted to tilt this guard. If you can see it, I wanted to tilt it this way, which would mean taking off a bit of the habaki. But I figured, oh, I would just leave it on an angle. The problem is that kind of threw everything off, and I actually had to put the top of the handle on an angle to meet up with that. So it just, everything fits up nice. It's fine. It's just that it just looks a little goofy because this is on an angle. When you're holding it this way, it really doesn't matter. This one's just for me. I was to learn this experience and to show you guys. So I think I'm going to leave it. If I were to ever correct this, I would probably just make a new habaki and a new handle. Keep the other parts, and you know, maybe I will in the future. I don't know. But it feels great in the hand. It feels like a sword. So I'm going to keep going on this one. I'm going to do the wrap. Well, first the ray skin and the wrap. And I have to, these fittings are actually going to come out black. I'm going to do an oil finish on them, so they should come out really dark. This one, and this one. And then, of course, I have to finish hand sanding the blade and etch it so you'll see the cool pattern on it. So the blade itself, the sword itself is almost done. Then I need to do the scabbard for it. So it's coming along. But this is where I'm going to cut this video. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Maybe, actually, there'll be at least two more. One to finish this off and one to do the scabbard. Thanks, guys. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.